Ripple just came out with some massive news that's going to change the XRP market forever. In this video, I want to break down exactly what that news is, as well as talk about a potential massive catalyst that not a lot of people are talking about. There has been a lot of attention put on ETFs recently. But guys, I think over the next 2 years, we are going to see another massive boom of another traditional financial product that is going to bring a lot of interest and attention to the cryptocurrency market. Like always, you're supporting me so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you're in a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite change. I'll pull it down in the description of this video. With that said, I'll jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So let's start out this video and talk about something that I feel like has gone pretty under the radar that's going to bring a lot of attention to the cryptocurrency market. And in fact, I actually think this will involve Ripple at a certain point. And that is IPOs. Guys, we are watching a ton of IPOs starting to get going in the market. We're watching Evernorth going public via a SPAC, and now it looks like Securitize is also going public via a SPAC. Now, this is pretty cool stuff. This is the type of thing that is going to make a lot of traditional investors very interested in the cryptocurrency market. Not a lot of people look at the market like how I'm about to describe it, but I want to describe the market a little bit different to you guys. Oftentimes, we talk about what controls the price of XRP, and we talk about buy volume and sell volume, or supply and demand. But not a lot of people talk about like where that supply and demand comes from. At the end of the day, every single market on earth is powered by one person, and that's humans, human emotion. Human emotion is really the driver behind any single market. And that's why you can often look at completely unrelated markets, right? The stock market to the crypto market to the bond market, all of these completely unrelated things, and draw similarities. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's people behind each one of these markets. Now, some markets might have different people in them, right? The bond market might have a little bit more sophistication than the equity market, which might have more sophistication than the cryptocurrency market. But it's still people, and it's just human emotions. And because of that, it's important to understand that IPOs happening in the cryptocurrency market are going to do two big things. One, it's going to drive attention. It's going to drive media presence. It's going to drive a lot of people interested in what these companies are doing. There hasn't been a lot of cryptocurrency IPOs thus far. But if you take a look at what happened around the time Circle was going public, the market was going up. A lot of people said, oh yeah, crypto, oh, Bitcoin, oh, I want to buy some of that. I'm going to buy some of Circle. These are big marketing events, and it gets a lot of people interested in the cryptocurrency market. Now, personally, that's not the only thing I'm paying attention to when it comes to human emotion in these IPOs. The other thing it does that is actually a complete falsehood, but it kind of works to our favor, is that it gives a lot of people interest it gives a lot of people credibility in the cryptocurrency market. This is not how it works, to be clear, but it's how people think it works. People see a company go public and they say, oh, wow, the SEC just approved this company. Now, I can point to a very large handful of companies who went public and were total frauds and scams. And I'm not going to list them right here, but I'm sure you guys can very easily find someone. The SEC wasn't necessarily saying, oh, this is a good business, we approve them to go public, but people see it that way because they don't understand what the SEC is actually doing. Technically, the SEC is just auditing the financials, really. They're just saying, oh, yep, everything looks good based on what you told us, but if you lied to us, well, there's nothing we can do about that. So these cryptocurrency companies going public creates this market perception from people that these companies are now legitimate and that the tokens are more legitimate. And oh, this whole industry is getting regulated. It's under the SEC. So all of this is going to play out into positive sentiment, more investor dollars, more volume, and just more marketing and interest around the cryptocurrency industry at large. I thought this was really interesting and honestly something that I really haven't been paying enough attention to, but here you see it. Securitize going public via a SPAC. Securitize also works very close with Ripple and XRP, so also interesting to see that side of things, and I do think there will be a Ripple IPO at some point as well. One last note on the IPOs is we're kind of in an interesting window where all these cryptocurrency companies know that under President Trump, they're not going to be persecuted and prosecuted like we saw under the Biden administration. The Biden administration essentially made it illegal to run a cryptocurrency company in the United States. And a lot of these cryptocurrency companies, in my opinion, are not going to want to take their chances on who's going to be president next or which administration is going to have power. So I believe a lot of the cryptocurrency companies are going to try to go public in the next 2 or 3 years, right? They're not going to want to roll the dice and see what happens. If they want to go public, no, they know they have a window and they should probably get it done before uncertainty could potentially come back into the market. Personally, I don't think uncertainty will come back into the market. I think we've already opened up this can of worms and we're not putting them back in. But ultimately, if you're the CEO of a company and your plan is to go public in the next 5 years, are you really going to risk having to wait 8 years for a whole nother administration to come in? Probably not. You're just going to do things a little early, rip the Band-Aid off, get it done, and know you're going to be doing it in a very pro-crypto environment. With that said, I want to move into the very positive Ripple news that we got earlier today, which is that finally the Ripple acquisition of Hidden Road actually closed. Now, I didn't really talk about this too much on the channel, but not a lot of people knew this, but we were waiting on this acquisition to actually close. It took a while, but now Hidden Road is now Ripple Prime. So I'll read Brad Garlinghouse's post about this. He said, with today's close of Hidden Road, now Ripple Prime, Ripple has announced 5 major acquisitions in the last 2 years. Treasury last week, guys, that's like 13,000 banks and trillions in treasury volume. Rail, which is another 10,000 banks or something like that, in like a quarter of the B2B stablecoin volume. It actually might be way more than a quarter. It might be like 75%. I don't remember the exact figures. Standard custody, which allowed the launch of RLUSD, and Medico, which is Ripple's custody business. So Ripple is growing at hyper speed right now. They are eating up companies, eating up core infrastructure. And what I love about what Ripple is doing is they're not going after some shiny, flashy cryptocurrency company. What they're going after is disruptors in the banking industry, eating up that deal flow, eating up their partners, and rebranding it under Ripple. At this point, across these major partners, I would argue Ripple is probably connected to 95% of the banks out there. Right? It's incredible. And every single one of these banks is not going to restructure all their infrastructure, all these products they've built with these partners. They're now Ripple partners. Ripple can then package these products up together and bring them to the market so that the market can get access to, well, not only just the custody they were doing before, but now Ripple payments, now G Treasury, now Rail. It really opens up Ripple's business models by spreading their tentacles into these existing banks and really taking over their processes. He then continues to go on and say, as we continue to build solutions towards enabling the Internet of Value, I'm reminding you all that XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. Lock in. So, guys, this is just another great reminder. I do feel like we go into periods where Brad Garlinghouse doesn't say anything for a little bit, and all the FUD people start coming out and saying, oh, they're moving away from XRP. This is the pivot away from XRP. Ripple holds hundreds, or not hundreds of billions, but billions, tens of billions of XRP. Guys, no one wants to see XRP at a higher price than Ripple. And guess what? Ripple knows they are the leader in building out this infrastructure and these rails for the XRP ledger right now. Maybe that won't always be the case. Maybe it will always be the case. I don't know. But no one is more incentivized to see XRP succeed than Ripple. And just remember that. No matter what FUD you see about Ripple selling or Ripple abandoning XRP, guys, what single entity is more incentivized? What entity or person is more incentivized to have XRP go up in price than Ripple? At the end of the day, there isn't one. And therefore, Ripple's going to be doing everything in their power to bring XRP as much utility, as much price appreciation as possible. They might not come out and outright say that, but just use your brains a little bit. They want to get rich. We want to get rich. They want to be the most powerful company on earth. They want to put a dent in the universe. That's not going to happen at a $2 XRP, right? So don't do too much squandering and reading into some of this stuff. It's fairly obvious what they want. And I think that post from Brad Garlinghouse, it's fair to read between the lines and see that nothing is changing. XRP is the beating heart of everything Ripple does and will continue to be. I'll make one more point on this, guys. Without XRP, Ripple's just an ordinary company, right? They're really just another messaging company. XRP is what changes everything. It's a differentiator. They can't do anything without XRP, and XRP will always be the golden goose of what Ripple does. I want to finish this video off and go into the XRP price chart real quick because it does seem like we found some really nice support at this level right here. XRP is this horizontal support now that we're watching closely. It was a support line before. It was something we were watching on XRP's other breakout. If we draw a line right here, we can see that XRP broke out right about there to the upside, came back down and retested it. Honestly, the really good news is that XRP is finding support right here. Where XRP's next breakout is going to be, some people won't like this part, but it looks like XRP is going to have some sideways trading and have to regain some momentum at these current levels. Whenever you have a big crash like this, you always see that. The last time we had a huge crash, and I'll highlight this right here, was right about in April 25th or the 7th of April, 2025 right here. And as you can see, we went into this sideways trading pattern right here, ultimately before XRP broke to the upside. So it's not uncommon to see this. Whenever you see a big crash, you end up getting hit with some sideways trading pattern. If we take a look right here, and yes, you guys can see it, we had a big crash right here. We had some sideways trading pattern before ultimately regaining our momentum and going to the upside. So personally, I think we're going to have some sideways trading pattern here before breaking out to the upside. So we'll see how much longer this goes on. The market's recovering. That's the good news. I don't think it's a bear market. I don't think we're in a downtrend. I think the market just needs to regain its feet, re-find its support. And I'll say this again, guys, the fact that it's finding support right here is really incredible. It's at a very high price for XRP historically over the past year, and I would much rather see it holding here than at any lower price. So from my perspective, this is all great. Let XRP steady out, let it regain its feet, and we're hoping the next couple months that we slowly grind upwards before making that next big pop. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope everyone has a great weekend. And for now, Mickle out.